Hello, my Bill 1000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. We are back with another Watcher Wednesday, that's right. And we are finally at the long-awaited debrief of Ghost Files Alone. I told you we'd get there. The weather outside is not frightful no more. At the moment. Just at the moment. Just at the moment. It's just less shit today. Alright. I'm excited to get into this video. I really enjoyed the Ghost Files Alone. I mean, I really do love Shane and Ryan's chemistry when they're doing this stuff together, but there was just something about Shane kind of conquering his fears and doing this on his own. Like, I can respect that. I actually kind of enjoyed it. And I actually want to kind of see if Shane has any kind of a different outcome if he does it, where, you know, he's just skeptic straight through and through. So I'm excited. I know a lot of y'all is not the biggest fans of it because you like their chemistry like I do, but we have to broaden our horizons. We have to broaden our horizons, peoples. I'm excited to get into today's story. Hopefully you guys are excited as I am. If you are, please go ahead, turn them lights down low, put on something comfy, couple something special. Let's get creeped up. Oh, no, wait. No, this ain't gonna be creepy. Let's laugh our asses off, because you know Shane's gonna pick on him. And I'm so excited.
Well,
that was different.
Ghost Files Alone has finally premiered. Ryan Bergara alone in a haunted location for 24 hours, and he's here with us today. What a treat. So let's chat. This is the Season 1 reunion / Ghost Files Alone debrief.
A reunion? I mean, it's like there's only one of us.
It's a joke.
I see. Good joke.
Amazing joke.
I'm Shane Madej. You may remember me from Ghost Files as Ryan's frequent co-host and fellow ghost hunter. Now,
friend.
I don't see that on the teleprompter. Now, as someone who did not join you for this journey, I have a lot of questions. So let's begin. Why ghost hunting? That's sort of just a funny question.
It was very good. Is this the first time you've ever interviewed me?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think it might be, actually. That's why it feels so odd.
So, first question, what was the motivation / inspiration behind doing this?
Yes.
Well, first off, Merry Christmas to all of you who are watching this on Watcher TV. And if you're watching this on YouTube, Happy New Year. You know?
I will say happy holidays as I do not believe in Christ.
Is that how this is going to be? This is going to be a gotcha interview?
No, Merry Christmas.
Your gotcha journalism? What was the inspiration / motivation?
Well, I mean, there's other ghosts.
I was right. This is gonna be fun as fuck already.
Shows that have 24 hours, I assume. They lock themselves in there. That's probably happened.
I don't believe so.
No?
Not that I've seen.
What is that paranormal lockdown one? Is that more than
That's
24
72 hours, but that's
They're not alone.
That's a duo.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody has done this before, but I had not seen it, or I had not seen anybody in the paranormal community at large do it. So
actually, Nick had done lockdowns like that by himself before.
It was just something that I wanted to do in terms of just a personal challenge. It wasn't even so much that I hadn't seen somebody do it. I do also love the show Alone.
Alone is very good.
Where people go into the wilderness and actually face true peril.
Lost and
when
alone.
They might die and they need to survive
Afraid
for
of
sometimes a year at a time.
And they have to film themselves.
And they have to film themselves.
Much like Survivor Man, Les Stroud.
Exactly. Survivor Man also was an inspiration. I love those shows. The idea of just filming yourself and doing it as like a one-man band. I have a whole new appreciation for them now. I'll tell you that. Only doing it for a day.
Yeah, there were parts in it where I was, there were several parts throughout the show where I was like, I'm glad this isn't me. Because I wouldn't have had fun doing it.
No, there were parts that weren't fun.
It's not,
from a logistical
you
standpoint.
also probably didn't have fun doing it, but there would be no purpose for me doing it.
No, and I think like from the content side, that was just something I was interested in. But from like the personal side, I wanted to test myself mentally to see what I would be able to do and accomplish, to see if I could push myself to like the mental limit and see if I could actually rise to the challenge. Because I didn't think I was going to be able to do this. but it was like a way to
And
just
you
like,
did
I don't know.
it.
It did mean a lot to me that I was able to actually survive the 24 hours, just because like I did want to leave several times.
Yeah, I would imagine. There were moments when, during your interview early on, where you had the camera set up and then you were holding the camera. Looked like it was just not fun.
Oh, you're talking about setting up the statics?
Cameras are annoying.
The second episode, when I had to set up that static cam in the hallway, that took me like an hour and a half.
How much of the time was spent just setting up cameras and staging
That's another
things?
thing is like that actually did take a fair amount of time. In that particular case, I had to make 4 trips back and forth because I kept forgetting things. The first time I brought the static cam, but then it didn't work. So I went back, got another static cam, but then I realized I'd forgot the tripod. Then I went back with the tripod, and then when I turned the camera on, it was out of battery, so I went back to...
Is that
Oh my God.
a safety net for you? If you're spending the whole time?
No.
I mean, not the whole time, but obviously a lot of your brain is like, oh, I got to think about filming.
No, that actually
Did
was
that help at all?
that was a huge nuisance, actually. Because I was so scared, I wasn't thinking straight. So naturally, I wouldn't be like, well, let's make sure the static cam turns on, let's make sure the battery's there, let's make sure the charger's here on the tripod, great. I was just like, okay, grab that, shit, I forgot that, go back, and then and there was a lot of that happened. And a lot of times when I was setting things up, like even in that
looked like
same
you were shitting
scene
yourself
in the
the whole
second
fucking
episode,
time.
things started to happen while I was setting things up, which I found to be very annoying because now not only was something about to happen, but there's a good chance that I might not even get it on camera, and that was scary.
Hello?
Can you just let me set this up, please?
Did you have to do the thing where you like put a camera
Can
down
you
at
just
the
give
end
me
of the
one
hallway and
fucking
then walk
minute
back
to
the
get
other
this
end of the
shit
hallway and
settled,
then walk
son
down
of
the
a
hallway
bitch?
so that you get the shot?
Well, a lot of times I would set up a wide and then just forget it was there. Because that was the one thing that was cool about this, and another reason why I did this was that I could really go as hard as I wanted on paranormal investigation, because Ghost Files, we're not afforded that luxury. We're in each room.
We're in, we're out.
Well, we have like a contract in terms of what the location, where we could only be there for a certain amount of time, so we have to like dice up the location by rooms and be like, okay, we'll spend like 30, 40 minutes in this room, and then, you know, vice versa. Whereas this,
You got all the time in the
I
world.
could investigate as long as I want. So I had takes where I was rolling for like an hour and a half.
And you did do a full 24 hours.
Yes.
To be clear. Okay, so why the place?
Yes.
Malvern Manor.
Malvern Manor?
Malvern Manor.
You didn't remember the name of the location?
Where was it again?
It was in Iowa.
Iowa.
It was in Malvern, Iowa.
Oh, Malvern, Iowa.
Yeah.
Where'd that place come from? What's the deal?
Where'd it come from?
Why did you pick that place? Were there other contenders?
There were other contenders. There was a brief moment where, and you know, maybe we'll go to some of these places. Actually, we are going to go to some of these places in upcoming seasons of Ghost Files. There was a lighthouse, I won't say where, that I was possibly going to go to.
Point Sur.
But weather would have been a little nuts.
Point Sur Lighthouse.
And then there was also...
Well, yeah,
That'd be
also, what
fucking
do you really
amazing.
do there? You go up.
Didn't they go to the Point Sur Lighthouse before? I've watched so many different kind of ghost things. I can't keep them straight.
And down all night?
No,
All
but there
day,
was
up,
also
up,
like
down,
a,
up,
there was
down,
like a
up?
caretaker's house also next door.
Even that sounds pretty small, right?
It was pretty big.
It was kind of hard for me to get a sense of how big.
Over 10,000 square feet.
Really?
It was huge.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was enormous. There was 2 wings.
Looked winding.
And then 2 stories, obviously. Yep. And the biggest thing was no AC in July in Iowa.
That was another question I had, was how hot?
It was 82 degrees in that house
Yeah.
from the times I measured, but there were times when it, like on camera, you could see it's 82, but there was times that I measured off camera where it was like 88, close to 90 degrees in that house. And
His
obviously no
balls
breeze
wasn't
in there.
melting.
And full humidity. I was just soaked in sweat the entire time I was in there, including when I was trying to sleep. So I was drinking a lot of water to try and like stay sane.
The food looked good.
The food was great. That was actually a happy accident, because like I had gotten, you would like this, a deep dish pizza that I was gonna put in the air fryer. And
You left it at the hotel.
I left it in the hotel. I thought I had forgot my toiletries at the hotel, and then later when I was unpacking or packing up to end the investigation, I found my toiletries under a bag.
Oh, really?
And I was pissed, because I was like, you know what would be great? I'm sweaty right now, but at least I could brush my teeth and my mouth could feel like, you know, fresh when I try and go to sleep. And I was like, damn, I forgot my toiletries.
I really thought there was going to be sort of nothing
He had a hard
for me
go
to really
all the way
latch
around.
onto with this series, because I don't really watch ghost hunting content.
true, you don't.
I found the sort of beginning very thrilling.
Because there was no ghost hunting.
Well, yeah.
I liked it because it was we was getting a little bit of stuff. We was watching him like kind of battle his demons in his head on whether he was even wanting to do it and stuff. Like I really enjoyed it too.
And I just liked to see your little journey. I feel like I would watch a series of you just going unhaunted places by yourself.
Just trip.
Yeah. Have you considered starting a travel vlog?
No, I haven't considered starting
Something
a travel
that maybe
vlog.
in your future.
Unless, of course, you let me go to theme parks, and then I would do it all the time.
I don't want to see that.
I know.
Now, there were some hitches in the giddy up.
Yeah.
With this place.
Yeah.
Not with the place so much as the planning. Mm-hmm. Carter.
That's right.
Talk about the Carter of it all.
Carter, my cousin, also the first AD on Ghost
Carter.
Files.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Lim had insisted that I bring somebody with me to shoot this, and I had said, no, I don't want that to happen. And Carter, just doing what his boss has told him to do, is like, go help Ryan do this. And every time he would come and try and help, it'd be like, I don't want to. Because I wanted this to be a solo, just siloed experience, and I felt like if there was the presence of somebody else there, it would make me less scared because I knew there was help nearby, and B,
he was only meant to be. He wasn't meant to be at the location so
No.
much as like down the road.
he was meant to be at a hotel down the road. He would drop me off, pick me up for safety reasons, because if I'm driving when I'm very sleepy, but I was wired when I left that place, so like I wasn't too worried about that. But yeah, he was meant to be there for safety. In fact, I was also supposed to check in with Kat Hartman, our producer, and Lizzie. I did not do that either. Because I just felt like that would be another mental safety net.
Yeah, honestly, I like in the episodes how as soon as you get to the airport, it seems like dread starts building in the pit of your stomach. And
You
throughout
just
the
see
entire
like
trip.
his face
Whereas if
starting
Carter
to
would have
get
been there, he would have been.
beller.
We would have been chatting up.
You've been chatting it.
Also, then I wouldn't be able to have my vlogs in the car where I could just kind of stream of consciousness talk. And I knew that going in, so that's why I insisted. They also tried to get Matt Rial to come with me. And I remember having a phone call with Matt Rial the night before being like, do not come. I do not want you to come. You don't have to worry, because he was like, "Sweet, I won't come. You're not gonna have to. You're not gonna have to argue with me to make me travel to Iowa in the heat of summer." But yeah, I was pretty insistent that I wanted this to be a completely alone experience, because it was an experiment that I wanted to conduct for myself for the paranormal, to see if I could get ghosts if it's just me alone. But also, it was a personal challenge for me as an anxiety-ridden man to see if I could conquer my own fears.
Man,
and I knew that would all be
Lish.
discounted or
made
at
it.
risk if there was somebody
He
else
made
there.
it.
How much of a pivot was it once Carter was not involved? Because really Carter was going to help out with sort of the pre-interview.
The logistics, yeah.
But then,
It was never really that much of a pivot because that was always my plan.
Right.
I just made the other plan to appease folks at the company.
sure.
Which is funny because I also own this company, but I made that just so people would leave me alone. And then I always knew I was going to end, just pull the rug out and be like,
Get him out of here.
I'm doing it myself. My mom was pissed.
Really?
Which is funny because that makes it in the episode.
Yeah, on the call.
on the FaceTime. She was like, I cut out some of her being like legitimately angry at me. Like,
Oh, I was going to say, she didn't seem that mad. She seemed more worried.
she was worried. She thought Carter was going.
Yeah.
And when she found out he wasn't going, she was like, what if there was somebody hiding in that house? Or if you passed out? Or like you
See, I
got
don't think Carter would have done much to...
No, but I could see like if I let's say I fell down those stairs and I seriously hurt myself, or like I bonked my head and like I was just, no one would have known.
You could have texted Carter. Yeah, I get it. Okay, outside of going on this trip and experiencing this haunted house alone, how is this location different from other places we've visited? Because they all, I mean...
Yeah.
Some places, you go to a prison, it feels like a lot of other prisons you've been to. Houses like this, manors, tend to have their own character to them.
Yeah.
What was the vibe? What was different about this place?
It did feel very lived in.
It seemed
It
like it
felt
had multiple
recently
personality.
I mean, obviously it had fallen into disrepair and, it was pretty decrepit still, but like you could still see the remnants of people who lived there. Like, in Gracie's room, you saw her glasses, or in Hank's room, you saw all of his clothes and his disgusting toenails.
Don't like toenails, don't like clothes.
Really, really gross. Also, just the ability to chat to the owner
Cut off
and
your toes
the historian
and wear
of the
no
place,
clothes.
Josh.
That's my
gave it a
rule.
different character
He's a
and
fun guy.
personality. And it's something I want to do more in Ghost Files is chat to the folks who
Yeah, we keep saying that.
are from these areas, because it gives you a little flavor of the culture and like the place itself, and it gives it a little bit more I don't know if personality is the right word, but more so
I think
relatability, because it's like,
it's not just some haunted place.
Tourist attraction. There's people who live here, and like this is like their town or something like that. And I love that because I like the travel aspects of ghost hunting. Something you and I talk about all the time is one of the best things about doing our job in ghost hunting is obviously it's fun to do the shoots and have the paranormal investigations together, but then we also get to soak in the town that we're in and meet all the people and all the things that they have to offer. And
go down to the old watering holes, drink some crazy water.
I love it. Yeah. And that was also part of the motivation for wanting to show some of the travel aspects of it. And something we did in the first episode
the travel
of
aspects of it,
which is something that I also edited as well.
Like it wasn't too much.
Vlog style.
It was just the right amount.
I think there's also, I mean, we had talked about that when we went to the UK earlier this year.
Yeah.
There was so much to the travel. We were like, we should incorporate more of this when we can. Because it's just, I mean, going on the journey is, frankly, I have so few memories of
the hunts.
The hunts. I remember the places, but they all kind of blur together in my mind. My experience ghost hunting has been like, seeing all these fun places and meeting all the people we meet at the places are generally more memorable than the places themselves.
Oh no, I agree. The hunts, once we do them, because sometimes, I mean, the hunts always end in traumatic fashion for me because I have to do the solos.
Yeah, so you sort of...
I just want to get out of there.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, it was similar. It was a pretty horrific experience for 24 hours. But unlike the other ones, I then had to comb through every second of footage and edit it. And that actually... I had the same pit in my stomach looking through the footage that I had being in that house. Like the dread was still there. Wow, this is a really awful experience, and why I don't know if I could do this again.
Outside of the location itself, was ghost hunting alone markedly different than doing it as a duo? Or obviously we have the crew with us, and it's a pretty small crew, but you still have the safety net of there's people here, there's friends.
There's 4 or 5 other people besides you and I, which is a very small crew when it comes to shooting. But there are other people, so even just if it was just you and I, it would be a marked difference in my psychology.
Yeah. I'm really trying to put myself in your shoes. I don't think I would get too spooked, but 24 hours would not be a good time.
No, you wouldn't have a good time from the logistics standpoint and just the heat and all that and getting the shots and thinking about
doing all that while knowing that I believe none of this is real. Standing in a building and having a good time for 4 to 5 hours on a regular shoot almost feels insane. I'm like, this is fun. I'm here with friends.
Yeah.
We're having a great time. This will be a fun episode of the show.
Yeah.
I don't believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
So is this a crazy thing to do? 24 hours doing it all myself that'd be nuts.
Yeah, it would be something to behold.
So obviously this was a scary location, but
yes.
Can you imagine doing this in a place like Alcatraz? Or one of the a Waverly, one of the huge sprawling places we've been to. Obviously, 10K feet is nothing to sniff at.
The task of that is so daunting in terms from just the physical part of it that actually might impact the fear level. But then again, the amount of hot I was in this definitely also impacted the fear level at times. There were times where I was exhausted because I was sweating so much.
Yeah.
In Waverly, I probably would be very cold, but. It's hard to say. This was the most dread I've ever felt on any kind of shoot of just wow, this is really mentally testing me in a way that I did not think it would. I thought it would be scary and, I would have to deal with that and there'd be that, palpable fear of wanting to run out of the house that I have in all of our investigations. I just had no idea it was going to mentally test me from just man, this is, this is very, very tough to wrap my head around being here for this long. And not being able to leave, and having to film every second of it and put something together, and I can't cheat because I have to show everyone the experience.
Oh yeah, that would be the shitty part, knowing that you can't fake it.
I admire that about you because I would cheat.
This ain't the moon landing, bruh.
I would.
I wouldn't be able to live with myself.
I'd probably order pizza and I'd probably have some music to listen to.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I just won't film this. Vibe out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I punished myself if I didn't. That's why I punished myself for FaceTime.
Yeah. Was it worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you needed it then.
Well, I mean, also, to be fair, I did combine. I had the FaceTime with my wife, and then I had a margarita at the same time. Technically, one could argue that should have been 2 punishments. Since they
Should have
happened
been.
concurrently, I felt like 1 punishment is enough.
So we'll work that into the paddlings next season.
Well, it's all right. If you've watched Ghost Files Debrief for the last episode of Chillingham, we talk about how we're going to debrief and get paddled.
Yes. Let's dig into some of the things you saw.
Yeah.
The first thing that comes to mind, of course, is the blood in the hallway. Blood!
Not great.
On location is always sort of, you don't love to
it's
see
pretty
that.
grody,
Unsettling.
You should wash that off. And
Physical evidence.
Yeah.
I did mention that, and I cut it out because it felt, I don't know why, but there was a part where I was like, just get a rag. Just wipe this off.
Yeah.
But yeah, Josh had hired a private investigator to determine A, if it was blood, which was, yes, it was, and B, who it was. They weren't able to determine who it was, but they were able to figure out that it was all the same person. So
It's a lot of blood.
it was a lot of blood. I mean, a lot of blood. That I don't think it is apparent in the video how long that hallway is, but the entirety of the hallway has splatters and like hand tracks, and
Not good.
not my favorite.
Are you able to, over the
Damn.
course of that 24 hours, pinpoint, like, was there a moment
That's
where you
grody.
were the most scared? If there's a graph, is there like a peak? Or are there several moments that stand out to you in your memory?
Yeah, Shadow Man hallway I did not enjoy
Didn't look
any
fun.
time I was there. Actually, the most scared I was in Shadow Man hallway was at the very end. Because after investigating for basically 24 hours straight, or 19 hours straight or whatever before I went to sleep, after a while your mind is able to kind of really hone in on let's get some evidence. I want to actually find something here. But then after you lay down and you're locked in what could be considered a safe room, even though it's still in the house, you can mentally silo yourself to the point where you could kind of feel a sense of comfort or safety. And then after that, the prospect of then having to open that door again and then go back to the area, because that's another thing. When we investigate our locations, we go back to the hotel and I'm able to be like, whew, that was awful.
Yep.
Time to go home. It's not wake up. All right, let's
You're
get
back
back.
there,
I'm still here. Let's go back to the place that was awful again. And that
Poor
was really
Ryan.
tough.
Jesus, I'm so fucking scared.
It's a miracle he didn't cry himself to sleep.
Get me the fuck out of here.
Especially because I was thinking about that as I fell asleep, and when I woke up, I already have bad anxiety in the mornings, and that played into it, and I was like, this is a lot. That shot of me walking through the hallway, my eyes just darting in between the rooms. I was so scared in that moment. Attic was also really scary. I mean, that Shadow Man hallway, I did not like at all. There was also, Gracie's room was really weird too. It's hard, it all melds together. It was not a good experience.
No, I could tell.
Overall.
Yeah.
No.
We
The
shoot all
burger
our
was the
episodes at
best
night.
part.
Yeah.
And no ice cream.
Yeah.
I remember last season of Ghost Files, I really tried to sell Mark Celestino, or maybe it was 2 seasons ago. I was like, what if we shoot an episode broad daylight?
Yeah, I was down. Yeah.
Which I don't think would work for Ghost Files, but I think having the daylight portions paired with knowing that it's going to descend into night. Because there is something, I think, things that are scary in daylight are almost scarier than things that are scary in the nighttime.
No, I agree.
The things that I was thinking of, like the opening scene of Night of the Living Dead when they're in the, and it's like, this shouldn't be scary.
No.
It's daytime, but the man's just walking toward them and you're like, ooh.
Or even the opening scene of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is in the daytime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is something about a place in daylight, and it's just still horrendous.
Hey, I'm a firm believer in the stone tape theory, where if everything's lined up perfectly, you get to see what happened. And that doesn't mean it has to be nighttime. It could be daytime, it could be morning, it could be evening, it could be night. It could be at 3:23 in the morning. We don't fucking know. We just gotta be there for when it does happen. And it can happen at any time, bruh. Anytime, bruh.
And there's nothing you can really do about it. And also, this house was super dark, even in the daytime.
I know, it seemed like a lot of the windows didn't let in much.
No, and if they
were,
did, they would
covered.
let in a beam of light through a doorway, but then there would still be these large pockets of dark. And that mix, looking down a hallway and seeing parts lit and unlit, it just makes your mind focus more on the unlit parts. Whereas if you're in a dark hallway, it kind of all blends together. That's why a flashlight in the dark is scarier than complete darkness, because there is a focus and you could your mind could play tricks on you. I found that to be the same thing in the daytime. And I also was a little let down by how much safety I thought I was gonna feel during the daytime. And then when it actually happened, I didn't feel safe at all. And then I realized, wow, this is really going to suck the entire time.
Well, you had some safety nets. You had holy water. And you want to tell us about that?
Yeah.
I don't think that's any power.
I think it's half power.
So if you recall in the episode
Came
where I
out
went
the
into a
toilet.
church,
That's right.
was there anyone there?
No, that was actually
It was toilet holy water, man. It don't count.
really creepy.
That's a weird thing to walk into. I guess maybe, I don't know how churches work. Maybe there's a little office where the guy's hanging out.
I cut a lot of that out of the video, but there was a fair amount of me filming walking around that completely empty, huge church. And there was like lunch settings, like people had just been there.
This feels like the opening of a video game.
It was crazy.
Silent
It was really
Hill, man.
uncanny because like there
Before
was
the title comes up.
exactly there was like evidence of there was somebody here like very recently.
Yeah.
Like I saw plates with like bites of food in them.
Maybe they done got raptured.
And it was eerie, dude. Like
Yeah.
there was clearly a bunch of people that were just there and they were all gone. And
heard
so
you
I was
open the door,
walking
just like,
around
"Yeah,
looking for
scatter."
a person to be like, hey, is there a priest here that could
Ain't
bless
doing no more
some
Hail
holy
Marys
water for me
today.
because the basin's empty. And so when I walk in and I see the basin's empty, the rest of the time I
Feels
spent
like
in
an
there,
omen, honestly.
I was looking for somebody else to come help me out, and then I didn't find anybody, and then I go back, and then it's when I come to the conclusion of doing the bathroom thing.
Here's what I'll do. I'm just gonna take some water from the restroom.
So you just went into the bathroom and got it from
in
the
the
church
church.
bathroom. It's in the church. I don't think that counts as holy water.
It don't.
Counts enough for me.
Because I think you need a priest to like, you know.
Physically
Actually bless it,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's not.
You could. Did you at least like? I would have taken the bottle and like walked. Maybe they had like a little Jesus there. You could have just held it up to his lips and let him
charge it like a wireless charging pad. That's true. I could have done that. I did walk the
my
exterior,
God.
hoping there was some sort of fountain or maybe a holy water basin out there. There wasn't.
No. So in that case, is the belief that it's holy water more important than the actual?
I do think the
I
fact
guess
that
that's
it was.
sort of what it is.
Well, also
anyway.
it's on holy ground.
Sure.
Also, if I believe it's holy water, then the thing that's there could probably tell if I'm lying. And if I believe it means something, they don't know that that's not holy. I mean, unless they could like
You're reaching.
Sure.
feel it, like
You're
the
reaching.
gun glows if it doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Like a video.
You're
That's probably how it
reaching,
works. I
bud.
don't know. I just figured it came from the land, so.
Now I think it's safe to say that everybody enjoyed this three-part
I hope so, yeah.
event. Curious minds, I think, want to know if this would ever happen again.
No.
And I think,
don't think
we're
so.
curious to know if you would maybe get back out there someday and, you know, maybe hit some different locations. Where else could you see yourself doing this next, let's say, 2 months from now?
Disneyland.
Did
You can do 24 hours alone in Disneyland.
if not
I mean,
saying
that'd
that
probably
you
be
would.
scary shit.
What other places?
I would at Disneyland.
No, I know. What would be your reasonable next step? You know, if you had to. Let's say you had to.
Well, I
They're
mean-
gonna kill Vinny. They're gonna kill Vinny.
What?
They've got your dog, Ryan.
Okay, so this is like one of those crazy hypotheticals and not based in like the world of reality in which I would do this because I don't think I would have been doing this again. If somebody had Vinny at gunpoint, then I suspect that I probably would do it somewhere. I don't know.
If you had to pick, and it's a haunted place, not a Disneyland. And I know Disneyland is haunted, but you know, place.
I don't know. It makes sense.
And not just for you, but the people would want to see. And we've been to Winchester.
We've been to Winchester a lot, so that probably wouldn't make a lot of sense. Whaley House, they would never let me do that.
You don't think?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty nice. Winchester would actually probably be
Interesting. I think
pretty rough.
it's because it's so large.
It's huge. You'd get
We
lost,
know the
Ryan. You'd
history.
never be
Part of the
found.
reason why I really enjoyed
You're so
doing this
tiny.
was my intent was to do like a basic amount of research of the house, but I wanted to be surprised when I got there talking to the historian. If I was going to get the information told to me there, I wouldn't have as much time to mentally prepare and harden myself for what I was about to encounter. So that was the fun of this location as well, getting the history from Josh. So I would probably want to go to a place that I haven't been to yet as well. There's a couple places that pop out of my mind.
Key West.
Sure, that'd be great.
Would you ever do this at the Villisca Axe Murder House?
Boy, that would be really bad.
That would be really bad.
That would be so bad.
That would.
I did
That
not
place
like
is
that house when we
creepy
went
as
there as a
shit.
group. I can't even imagine.
I didn't like that. I don't think I could do.
Villisca. Villisca would be very tough. It'd be very, very tough. It's such a small house too, honestly. So
Yeah.
I would run out of places to investigate after a while.
And then you'd just be forced to sort of sit there.
Yeah, that's not exciting footage though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, though it would be interesting to watch.
No,
You know, Mari popped up on your video.
she did.
We've talked about how our let's get comfortable here.
Yeah, why not?
We've talked about how our wives have expressed at least willingness
Yes.
to do hunts like these in the future. Do you think Mari would ever do 24 hours with you
With me.
in a haunted location?
With me?
Well, by herself and then also with
By
you.
myself? By herself, never.
No, I was going to say,
She straight up thought I was an idiot for doing this. She was like, I would never do this in a million years. And she was worried about me too.
Sure.
Because she also was wanting me to check in.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
He's a man of his word.
She is open to perhaps accompanying us on one of our Ghost Files investigations, and maybe I'm trying to convince her to do a solo. I think that'd be so funny.
Oh, real?
She would lose her mind. We're very similar, in that sense. You and Sarah are very similar as well. I don't think Sarah would. I don't think it would. I mean, I wonder how Sarah would do in a solo.
The solo, I'm not sure about. I feel like
just because it's scary, just for being in a dark, creepy place alone.
She'd probably have more concerns about like tetanus and brown recluses than actual ghosts.
Or like a squatter or something.
Or a squatter, but like the places we tend to investigate are pretty locked down, so it's not usually a genuine concern.
That was one thing I was worried about with this place, because I was there alone.
Yeah, there's no like security.
There wasn't security. I wasn't able to like really do a sweep. Well, that's not true. I did sweep the location, but if someone were able to like break into the house, it would be hard for me to know. Mm-hmm. So that did cross my mind.
And you don't know the house intimately. You don't
Ghost
know
Files,
where the
couples edition.
the
That would be
weaknesses
interesting.
are.
The security.
You can't Kevin McAllister that place.
They go with their wives and then they switch. That way Ryan's still with a form of Shane and Shane's still with a form of Ryan.
No, I couldn't.
If need be.
No, I could not.
Are there specific noises that still haunt you, that you heard on location? Obviously, I also want to get into maybe what you found in the edit that surprised you.
Yeah, that was interesting. Because I was alone and I had the headphones on, I was really able to hear a lot more than I would.
A lot of bumps and clonks.
Yeah, a lot of bonks and clonks, as you would say. I was able to hear that a lot more on location than I would, say, when we're shooting Ghost Files, because some of the stuff you could discount in Ghost Files because there's other people in the house with us.
There's other people, we're moving around a lot.
We're moving around, but here, I'm just sitting in a chair and I'm just hearing that things in this house happen, and it's a huge house. You often talk about this, being in a room alone and then hearing something happening other parts of the house.
One of the scariest things.
It's so scary. And like when I was in Gracie's room, I just kept hearing footsteps.
One of the scariest things.
Like,
I want you to listen very closely to the footsteps in the background that continue when I'm not even moving.
well, I'm gonna take this now.
Is this the sound of someone leaving the room?
And they didn't sound like creaks. They sounded like heel-toe footsteps. That was disturbing to me in the moment. And, I knew I was going up there eventually. So one of the moments that haunts me is I'm looking at a doll. I think this is in the 3rd episode. And I mention, think it'd be funny if something crept up on me. And then I start to hear something behind me. And then later I hear footsteps behind me when I'm standing still.
Like you were sneaking up on me. It's like I turned around and I caught you right in the act.
Thought I heard footsteps behind me.
Were you up there? I have to check my footage. Hi! It's like you were sneaking up on me. It's like I turned around and I caught you right in the act.
Thought I heard footsteps behind me. That didn't sit well with me. When I showed that to my wife, she didn't like that.
That was kind of creepy.
Motion alarm
That
going
part
off
was
on its
creepy.
own.
Perhaps most terrifying, my motion detector went off for no reason, or so I thought. Like I said, at first I thought nothing of this. Perhaps the motion detector went off on its own. But after analyzing the footage frame by frame and enhanced, I see what I believe to be footprints in the carpet just before the motion alarm is triggered.
The cat ball moving on its own,
wiggling around.
hearing the tap of the cat ball.
You moved it again. Let's listen to that clip again. Pay close attention to the sound of the ball being tapped, and then the lights turning on right after.
Tippy tappy!
And even more
Tippy
creepy,
tappy!
the sound of a little giggle following that.
Susie?
You moved it again.
There were times also that I got frustrated with my past self. This happened sometimes in Ghost Files, but here in particular, there was one moment in room 17 and room 18, and I was asking if the relationship there was consensual or not, or if there was something sinister happening. I asked, was there something sinister happening in this relationship? And the ovolus said wrong. Was this a consensual, totally normal relationship between the two of you folks? Or was there something actually sinister happening as was suggested by the stories? Whoa, what the fuck, did you see that? That looked like is that just a light? It looked like something moving through the doorway right here.
Oh, and you didn't catch it at the time?
No, because at the time, I had in each room set up a little iPhone camera to be the wide of the room, but it was on selfie mode, so I could frame the shot and see it from afar. And I glanced over at that iPhone and I saw what appeared to be a very bright, like blue orb floating, in an interesting way. And I was like, whoa, is that an actual orb? And then I was trying to see if I could see it in person. So I was distracted by that. And while that was happening, the ovolus said wrong. And I didn't catch it in the moment. And then as I was editing later, I was like, you fucking dumbass.
I mean, it's 24 hours. There's going to be some...
No,
Yeah,
and there were some times where I messed up. Like, for instance, Josh pronounces Inez Gibson's name is Inez. I say Inez in the episode. There's one time in Susie's room where I say Sophie by accident, but those are also just because I'm scared in the moment, and it's hard for me to remember things. But later in post, when you're not scared, you kick yourself for those things.
Yeah. You did edit this.
Yeah.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Obviously, you were combing through the footage and finding a lot of stuff in post. Was that alarming to you? Are you happy you didn't catch a lot of that on? Because like, when you were there, did you see like the cat balls move? Or did you review that and notice it?
I saw the move in Susie's room. I didn't see the move
in the hallway.
Yeah. I'm so glad I didn't see that cat ball move, because that would have also been right before I had to go get the static cam again in the morning.
Yeah.
And that would have been a lot for me to handle.
Was that the most unsettling discovery in post? Or
yeah, I did not like that.
Because you get like a full little wiggle on that thing.
God.
I was actually shocked by all the noises that I didn't hear on location. And I think that's, I mean, once again, I was so scared in some of these rooms that like, you would think that would make me like really, react to any little creak or anything like that. No. But I think also there was a numbing aspect to that at times. So not hearing some of like, in particular, the knocks as responses or taps, that was crazy to me as I was reviewing the footage. I was like, that's why even in the VO, I was like, somehow I didn't hear these noises and they're pretty clear. So that was surprising to me. And sometimes frustrating, because like I would hear it in post and been like, damn, I wish I was able to react to that in the moment so I could continue that conversation further.
The following response I received was so slight that I did not hear it on location.
Can you knock one time if you like this room? Another question too that haunted me was when I was talking to something in Gracie's room and I got a bunch of responses on the spirit box saying 3. And I was never able to figure out what that meant. Like, was that a room in the building? I tried to get like further clarification, but I was never able to figure out what that meant. Can you tell me the name of the building we're in? 3? What does building 3 mean? I just heard 3 again. 3. Okay, could you expand on that? Like room 3? Do you mean room 3? Is that what you mean? Room 3? Oh. The light just turned green.
To close this out, you sort of touched on this a little bit up top, but I get the feeling, and you say as much toward the end of the little 3-part thing, but this ended up seeming to be more than you anticipated.
Yeah.
Emotionally, sort of existentially.
Yeah.
What did you end up taking away from this that kind of surprised you?
Well, I mean, like I said in the beginning, I wanted to
he was proud of his
test myself.
And like at the outset, that seemed to be like, this is going to be scary. But you seem to be approaching it like, okay, it'll be like Ghost Files, but long.
Yeah.
And that'll be difficult. It seemed to end up being a lot more to sort of wrangle with mentally.
I think so. I think you might relate to this because you also run as well. But when I run...
I run.
You do run. I'm not a great runner, but when I do run, one of the reasons I like it is when I'm running, and this is just part of having like an anxiety disorder, is sometimes when I'm running, it feels like I'm actually gonna have a heart attack, like I'm convinced that I'm gonna die.
You might be running too much.
No, I'm not talking. I'm not doing that much distance. It's disproportionate to what's actually happening.
Sure.
My mind will be like, "You got to stop right now, or something really bad's going to happen to you." And I always like that because then I'm able to push through that and realize nothing bad's actually going to happen to me. My body's just trying to tell me to stop.
Yeah.
This became like the ultimate version of that, where I truly thought there were times where I was going to either like pass out, or if I was just going to, have a mental breakdown. And I really did. Have some long stares at the door of like, maybe I should just call it quits. That same voice was there, except it was just so much longer and louder. And it became
a Green Goblin kind of.
Yeah, I had a Green Goblin mask in this house that was constantly be like, come on, Ryan, leave the house. No one gives a shit. You'll be better for it.
Yeah.
And so that voice,
it
in a way, it became kind of like a way to truly head on confront that voice in a way that I haven't been able to, at least in an on-camera setting.
Yeah.
Because when we're shooting the show in Ghost Files, I'm scared in that moment. I'm like, man, I really don't want to do this, but it's very short. 24 hours with you just alone. 24 hours of me alone without a haunted house, this voice appears.
Yeah.
Now
the voice is more than just don't leave the haunted house.
Yes, exactly.
Everyone has a voice.
Yeah, my voice could be sometimes pretty mean and loud.
Sure.
And in this house, it was especially loud and especially mean.
Yeah.
And so having to battle with that when nobody to push me through that, like you or the crew, having a crew there, having you, is a really great motivating factor to be like, I can't back out of this because we're here to shoot an episode. This is our job. Like, I'm not gonna let everybody here with me down. But when you're by yourself, you can cheat and you can like let yourself down,
and I would,
and not realizing it until later. Yeah. Like you're just chasing relief at that moment. And there was a bunch of times where I was like, I could just give into the relief and just leave.
Yeah.
So I was really mentally battling with that a lot, and there was a lot of times where I didn't think I was going to be able to push through it, and that became a bigger thing to me as I was doing it over the course of it. And that's why I think at the end it did elicit that kind of emotional response from me, because there were times in there where I genuinely thought I couldn't do it anymore. And normally when that happens, in the real world, I physically do actually stop running.
Yeah.
And then I get really angry at myself, like, wow, I can't believe I stopped running there. I'm not even that out of breath.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wasn't gonna die. My brain convinced me I was gonna die, and now I'm like, I could run more. There was no reason for me to do that. And I get like, actually, you're seeing the psychology of
course, yes,
I get like actually angry at myself.
Yeah.
So in this particular case, in the worst version of that, I was able to push through that voice and then keep going. And then that's the emotional response, because like that mattered a lot to me. And then, that's kind of was the whole, I suppose, real purpose of the journey, was like trying to beat me.
It ended up being a revelatory experience for you. It's funny comparing that to like my experience, which was like, you left and I was like, oh yeah, he's doing that thing. And then like, the next day, I was like, oh, I guess he's done by now.
No, I mean, I was so happy when I was out of that house, dude.
Your first step out, was it just like, I mean,
you see it in the ground like I thought it was
the relief that I feel. Like, when I first stepped out, it was pure joy. Like, I'm so glad I'm out of that house. First off, it was just so hot. I was not in a good mental place. And so to think that, like, wow, I actually made it. It really felt like a finish line moment.
Shawshank.
Yeah, dude, it was great. There was just pure joy and relief. And then when I got in the car, that's when it started to really set in of like, wow, I actually did do it. I can't believe that. I actually am proud that I did that. And then that thought made me have like I started crying, and I cut a lot of that out.
It's the Captain Phillips,
Yeah, but it did mean a lot to me. So I'm happy I did it. I don't think I'm gonna do it again. Also, doing it again, I'm not gonna have that same, I feel like in order to have that same kind of arc, I'd have to continue to push the envelope in terms of challenging myself.
I think there's still value to you doing it, if not every time is like an emotional epiphany.
Yeah.
But obviously,
I don't know if I could do it.
No one's going to push you to do it.
I don't know if I can handle it again.
I don't know if you could, but also you tend to sort of, you push yourself on these things, and sometimes you never know. I wouldn't put it past you to do another one.
It was nice to push myself and be happy with the results. That's always fun. Whether it's anything, that could be something huge in your life or small in your life, but anytime that's happened to me in my life, I've always been very grateful for the experience.
I feel like the ideal version of a next time to do this is we find two haunted houses that are sort of next door to each other. or across the street from each other.
Yeah.
And you and I can communicate via Morse code with flashlights.
See, that would help me a lot, though.
Yeah.
To the point where it would nullify the experience.
I guess, yeah.
I need to be completely alone. That's the part of it that like needs to be me versus me, because in a lot of ways I am my own worst enemy. So
Joe
that's
versus
the
the
part
volcano.
that needs to be always present. That's which is why I couldn't reach out to anybody or check in or do a wellness check or any of that shit.
Right. As I've said, I don't know that there's much value in
Yeah.
me doing this. Maybe it would be fun for people. I
Yeah.
don't know. If people love this and they really want me to do it,
That would be great.
how do you think I would fare?
I think you'd fare great.
Yeah, honestly,
I think it'd be
would.
fun.
I think you're a mentally
I would like for you to
solid
go to the
guy,
same place he
too,
went.
as well.
Yeah.
I think you're definitely, not to say that I'm super unstable, but compared to me, you're like, the foundation of a house, like just structurally sound, I
Yeah.
think.
Thank you.
So I think you being in that siloed space would not be that big of a deal. And then add on to the fact of that you don't believe in ghosts, I also think, you'd actually, frankly, you'd probably get pretty bored and annoyed.
I think that's a possibility.
And
yeah.
I think you'd also get annoyed with the setup of all the stuff and lugging all the gear. And if the conditions were bad, that would be an annoyance too.
Yeah.
Because if there's that was another thing that was pushing me through. There was like a real emotional through line, but also like a desire to prove ghosts are real. They had two things that were motivating me throughout the experience. Whereas you, it's like,
I don't have the emotional pull.
it would be like, wouldn't it be funny to see what would happen kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be kind of mean of anyone to make me do that, but
That's true, honestly.
I'd
I do
still
think
like to
I would
see
never
it,
make you do that because I don't know what you would gather from that.
yeah.
Because even if you heard like the creaks and stuff, I don't know if you'd believe they were a ghost.
I'd be like, that's houses,
The only way that's completely fulfilling is if you actually saw a full-bodied apparition and it made you believe. That's the only version of that.
Which would be cool.
That would be cool.
That'd be fucking
The odds of
awesome.
that happening, as evidenced by our several seasons of ghost hunting, very slim. Very slim indeed.
Well, we're all very proud of you. We had a lot of fun, and it seems like you had some fun. No, you didn't have much fun
I had,
at all. The
s-
burger was good.
The burger was great. That beer was really good. Maybe the best beer I've ever had.
Yeah,
Like
well,
if I'm
yeah.
ranking beers, that's like right there with Christmas Day beer.
I was gonna say
beer in the snow, hot tub beer.
I
It's
was
like
gonna say
right
you
there.
reacted strongly, but I feel like every beer you've ever had, you take a sip and go, oh. So it's not that different.
It's true. It's up there. It's up there in your beers.
Well, truly, I commend you on a job well done.
No, thanks,
it was
man.
a fascinating
You did
experience, and,
amazing.
you should be very proud of yourself.
No, thanks, dude.
And big thanks to everyone for watching.
Yeah, thank you all for watching.
I'm sure, as I said, we don't know that he'll ever do it again. Who knows? Crazier things have happened.
We'll see.
But we're not going to hold him to it. Let's just value what has happened here in the year of our Lord 2024.
No,
with
for
Ryan.
sure.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch it. It's a long one, so
It's a long one. Thanks for watching, everyone. Ryan, once again, congrats on
thanks,
your
man.
achievement.
Oh, and also, once again, Merry Christmas
Merry
if you're
Christmas
watching
and a
this
Happy
over
New
on Watcher
Year.
TV, and Happy New Year to all of you folks watching this on YouTube in January.
Oh, in January, of course.
And
Happy
2025.
January.
What's 2025 like? We don't
freaky?
know. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
A lot of butt stuff.
That's true. That made it seem ominous. We will know soon. We, in our current state of being, will never know.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for having me. That was great. It was nice. I know. I'm so excited. I can't wait till we'll start Puppet History next week, bruh. Alright, I really enjoyed that. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that as much as I did. I know I didn't talk a lot throughout, but I end up just wanting to hear them. I'll chime in a little bit. I'm sorry I didn't get to talk as much on that, but I really wanted to hear the debrief. A lot of you always want me to hear the debrief. I like the fact that Shane picked at him a little bit, but not like too bad. I honestly myself, I would like to see Shane do one, and not just like, oh, that was a creak in the floor, but actually get up and go, be like, okay, I think it's a creak in the floor, but let's go see what that is. And just to see if maybe he gets as much, less, but they would have to do it at the same place as different times. I don't know. I think I'd like to see that though. I really do. I mean, I gotta remember to start doing that. I don't know why I forget. But other than that, I really did enjoy it. I like the fight he was having on the inside, whether he wanted to do it, whether he wanted to call somebody, whether he wanted to drink a beer and have to do a challenge. Like there was a constant battle throughout the whole time. And I love that. That's what life is about. It's a constant battle. You got one angel over here and you got the little devil over here, and you gotta battle that shit. Alright. I really enjoyed today's video. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, go on down there, hit that thumbs up. It helps the channel get out there to everyone else in the world that needs to see my pretty face. And while you're down there, going over and slap that subscribe button. Become part of the B5 Nation. We do some crazy stuff. If you want to know when that crazy stuff happens, ding that bell and turn on all notifications. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Damn. I thought he was going to kiss the ground as soon as he ran out that door, though, to be honest with you.